Hello guys, welcome to the channel of Political Science Tutorials, a channel for all students of political science as well as for students of related social sciences and also for those who are preparing for any administrative or competitive exam. Please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for the notification of next videos. Guys, if you check the playlist of this channel, you will notice that already there are uploaded videos on some great thinkers of Western political thought like Plato, Aristotle, Machiavelli, Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, Bentham, etc. And in this video, we are going to discuss about another great English thinker. Yes, I am talking about j.s.mill. His thinking was multi-dimensional. Mill's works includes texts in logic, epistemology, economics, social and political philosophy, ethics, metaphysics, religion and current affairs. But in this video, we will try to understand his concept of liberty. Okay, before taking an attempt to understand j.s.mill's concept of liberty, let's take a quick look on his early life and education. Mill was born in London in 1806. His father was James Mill, who was also a great philosopher and the writer of the famous book History of British India. And this book was published in the year 1818. Here, one thing is important to note that Mill never went to any existing school in his time. His father was very careful about his education and planned to teach him accordingly. The result was Mill started with Greek at the age of 3 and Latin at the age of 8. Mill had absorbed most of the classical canon by age 12, along with algebra, Euclid and the major Scottish and English historians. A rigorous training was conducted by his father. At the age of 15, he started work on the major treatises of philosophy, psychology and government. And all this was conducted under the strict daily supervision of his father. Mill's education was supervised by his father along with his father's friend Jeremy Bentham. Here to mention that Bentham is called as the father of utilitarianism. Already uploaded a video on Bentham's view on utilitarianism. Thus, under the great influences, he grew up as an intelligent and disciplined student. So, it was a brief note about his educational foundation. Now, here are the name of some important works by j.s.mill with the year of publication. A System of Logic, published in the year 1843. Principles of Political Economy, published in the year 1848. Essay on Liberty, published in the year 1859. Thoughts on Parliamentary Reform, it was also published in the year 1859. Utilitarianism, published in the year 1861. The Subjection of Women, published in the year 1869. Now, let's start with his concepts, which will help us to understand Mill's concept of liberty, and after that we will try to understand what are the shortcomings and also why his theory is so important. First, to begin with, Mill's concept of social tyranny. Mill started by retelling the history of struggle between rulers and the ruled, which is happening in any society, and rulers also often exploit the subjects and sometimes it becomes political tyranny. But according to Mill, social tyranny is more dangerous than political tyranny or tyranny by the state. Mill is very clear that the real danger to liberty comes from a social tyranny which is greater than any kind of political oppression. Now the question is why? The answer is because it leaves fewer means of escape, penetrating more deeply into the details of life and enslaving the soul itself. Now the question is what Mill meant by tyranny of the majority or social tyranny. First, let me read the quote. The practical principle that guides the majority to their opinions on the regulation of human conduct is the feeling in each person's mind that everybody should be required to act as he and those with whom he sympathizes would like them to act. Here, Mill referred to those rules of conduct which are enforced by the society. And these rules are arbitrary rules and also strongly imposed by the society. As a member of society, individuals are obliged to obey these rules and also justify these rules. According to Mill, such a feeling that is justifying these rules is particularly dangerous because it is taken to be self-justifying and self-evident. Now the question is why Mill prefers freedom over social and political tyranny. It is true that every individual has their own capability, interests, choices and limitations. And Mill argues that individuals are the best judges of their own interests. If state or society interfere with their liberty, then it deprives them of the opportunity for self-development. Self-development is a process which will be guided by individuals' rational choice. Hope the point is clear why Mill was against the social tyranny, and from this point his concept of liberty finds a way out to attain individual freedom from social tyranny and also from political tyranny. Mill's main aim was to promote individual liberty. The authority of state and society is a necessity. But the question is when it is right for the society to interfere with the liberty of an individual. In his essay on liberty, he discussed his concept of liberty. According to him, there can be no self-development of individual without liberty. Now, here is the question: in which areas individual's liberty must be protected? Mill identified three major areas of liberty, and those are freedom of thought and expression, freedom of action, freedom of association. He considered freedom of expression to be the most important liberty, and in this regard, his idea of harm principle is important. His idea of harm principle tells us that an expression of the idea that the right to self-determination is not unlimited. Individual's liberty can be suspended when it causes harm to other individual or society. Here to quote Mill, the only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of a civilized community against his will is to prevent harm to others. So, here Mill stressed upon the actions are wrong which do harm to other individuals and society. And he argues that the state can interfere if a person's actions are going to harm someone else. But if no harm will be done, then the person should have freedom to believe or act as he or she chooses. He also mentioned that being upset, offended, or angered is not a reason for a person's freedom to be curbed. So, you can see here some individuals' harmless expressions like anger, being upset or offended cannot be the causes to curb his freedom of expression or action. Now the question is, why Mill promotes harm principle? The answer is, he thinks abiding by the harm principle is desirable because it promotes what Mill calls the free development of individuality or the development of our humanity. Why Mill stressed so much on liberty of individual? Why he was so vocal about freedom? The answer is, according to him, human nature is not static. It is not that to maintain a pattern only followed by previous generation. Individuals are not machines, rather they are like tree. And here to quote Mill, it is not a machine to be built after a model and set to do exactly the work prescribed for it, but a tree which requires to grow and develop itself on all sides according to the tendency of the inward forces which make it a living thing. So, what he meant by this quote? He meant that every individual has their own unique capabilities. They are eager to grow and let them grow. Applying force or coercion, state or society should not hinder the growth. To support his stand, he again says, over himself, over his own body and mind, the individual is sovereign. Thus, Mill disqualifies or rejects other reasons that are often used to justify interference with individual liberty. Mill argues that each individual should be able to decide what constitutes his or her own good and how he or she will pursue it. Now, we will try to understand Mill's concept of self-regarding and other-regarding actions. It is also related with harm principle. The harm principle introduces the distinction between self-regarding and other-regarding actions to articulate the boundaries of individual liberty and societal intervention. Or you can say, in other words, to which extent individual will be permitted to enjoy his or her liberty and where society or state will intervene to curb his liberty. Now let us try to understand what is the difference between two types of action. First, self-regarding action. Self-regarding action is the sphere of action that concerns only the actor himself, affect only the individual, and in which the actor should enjoy unimpeded freedom. In this regard, harm principle is not applicable. In other words, you can say the actions which surround only the individual alone and does not affect to the interest of any other individuals is called self-regarding action. Second type of action is other regarding action. Other regarding action is the sphere of action that affects others, in which the harm principle might constrain my actions, or you can say the activities which affect directly or indirectly the society or other individuals is called other regarding actions. And in these cases, state or society can restrict my actions and can carry out harm principle. Now we will try to understand his concept of negative and positive liberty. Mill distinguishes between two types of liberty, negative and positive liberty. By negative liberty, Mill indicates the absence of external coercion or interference. We will discuss it in 3 points. First point is freedom from coercion. Here, Mill emphasizes the importance of being free from interference by others, especially the state, unless such interference is necessary to prevent harm to others. For example, an individual should be free to pursue their own interests and make personal choices without being subject to unwarranted control or restrictions. Again, Mill is worried that the weight of public opinion, which he referred as social tyranny, can hinder to grow individuality, and regards these informal social controls as a form of coercion, which he termed as tyranny of the majority. Second point is the harm principle. Already discussed about it, and again to repeat the quote, the only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of a civilized community against his will is to prevent harm to others. Third point is the protection of individual rights. Negative liberty is concerned with protecting individuals from oppressive societal norms, government overreach, and the tyranny of the majority. And to avoid this, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom from arbitrary arrest or detention should be ensured. Now come to the point of positive liberty. According to Mill, positive liberty is the capacity to act according to one's own will, which the means and opportunities to do so to pursue one's goals. To make it clear, 3 points are important to understand. First point is self-realization and personal development. Mill is clear with the point that true freedom involves the ability to develop one's faculties and realize one's potential. For example, access to education and opportunities for personal growth are essential for individuals to exercise their positive liberty. With education, individual will be able to understand his or her ability, and with opportunities, he or she will be able to pursue his or her growth and exercise positive liberty. Second point is autonomy and self-mastery. Positive liberty involves not just the absence of constraints, but also the presence of control over one's own life and decisions. For example, an individual exercising self-discipline and making informed choices about their future embodies positive liberty. So here you can see that individual need a sense of what is good for his or her own growth and the capability to make rational choices for their self-development. Third point is social and economic conditions. Mill recognizes that certain social and economic conditions are necessary for individuals to exercise their positive liberty. For example, the state should ensure basic welfare, healthcare, and economic opportunities. If basic social and economic facilities are unavailable for individuals, then they will not be able to pursue their goals and aspirations effectively. He emphasizes the importance of both forms of liberty, negative and positive. Hope all points are clear now. If you have any questions, please write in the comment box. Now let's see what critics say about Mill's theory of liberty. In the first point, we discussed about Mill's harm principle. Critics argue that Mill's definition of harm is too vague and open to interpretation. For example, it can be difficult to distinguish between actions that cause direct harm and those that cause indirect or diffuse harm, such as economic inequality. That is a huge gap between rich and poor, or environmental damage, which not directly harms but indirectly harms the society, harms us all. So, who is to blame and which actions could be taken? Second point is about self-regarding and other-regarding actions. Critics argue that the line between self-regarding and other-regarding actions can be blurry. For example, some actions might primarily affect the individual only, but it also indirectly harm their family or society, such as smoking. Smoking in private can still pose public health issues through second-hand smoke or passive smoking. Third point is, critics also argue that sometimes his idea on liberty collides with each other. Sometimes he gives immense freedom to individuals, and in some other time he has entrusted enough power in the hands of the state. So it creates confusion among the readers. Fourth point is, Mill has not identified any legal framework to prohibit the misuse of liberty, because sometimes the ill intention of wicked people would be a great obstacle for the progress of the nation. But they are also individual, so there should be a legal framework to prohibit their liberty, and some remedies against misuse of freedom should be taken. These are prominent points about Mill's theory of liberty, and to some extent right. But despite these criticisms, Mill's ideas continue to be highly influential to the idea of liberty and serve as a foundation for ongoing debates about the balance between personal freedom and societal regulation. And we know both are essential, personal freedom and societal regulation. Mill preferred state's control, but that should never neglect or oppress the scope of individuals' self-development, and his point is clear. Now let's note some points about Mill's concept of liberty. While Mill champions extensive personal freedom, he acknowledges that there are limits to liberty. He recognizes the need for laws to prevent harm to others, to maintain public order and ensure the functioning of the society. Mill's ideas in the context of censorship, freedom of speech and government intervention are important ideas and important to maintain democratic order in any country. Another point is balancing individual liberty with the need for public order and security has an important dimension in Mill's concept. Mill emphasized on the importance of individuality and at the same time diversity in society. He was against the tyranny of the majority, and from the starting point he was against the tyranny of the majority. Above all, Mill championed the idea that individuals should be free to pursue their own unique paths and interests. Fostering creativity, innovation, and personal development are the basic things individuals' self-development, and liberty plays an important role. No one can ignore this. These were some points about Mill's concept of liberty. If you have any question, write in the comment box. You are most welcome. Thanks for watching.